Hey there, how are you? Today I'm going to show you a little trick on dividing plants when you have orchids like these sympodial types of orchids that grow in one direction. They shoot up little bulbs and they grow. See how this one is grown all across the pot, and now the new growth is going to come out and it's going to be hanging off the edge of the pot. So that's usually about the time when you want to divide or repot this plant. Because I know I'm gonna repot this plant this year, one of my tricks to get the plant ready to be divided is to just cut the little stem early before I'm actually repotting, so that the plant has time in its normal pot to adjust and send out some new growths. The way to do this is to just find where you can see there's this like a woody stem growing along the surface of the soil. And you can see like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pseudobulbs here. So I could probably divide this plant really easily into 3 little divisions. So what I do is I find a nice little spot like right here. See, there's 1, 2, and there's a nice little part of the woody stem here. So what I'm gonna do is just take my scissors, and I'm just gonna like clip through there. Okay, and then I think here's another 1, 2, and I'm gonna clip right through there. There we go. So now I have a little division here, a little division here, and a little division here. Because I'm going to leave this plant in the same pot for a little while, what I like to do is stick a little piece of plastic. This is a little like a zip tie kind of thing, and I cut it into a little 1-inch strip. And what I'm going to do is just slide it in between where I made that little cut. There we go. Just to keep the plants apart. And that way I also remember where I cut the plant. And I'll do another one right here. So, there. And now, because this plant has been cut in 2 different places, this one is already starting to have a new growth. I can see the new bud here. But this one, because I cut the lead off, will probably start to have a new bud here, somewhere along the section, either at the bottom of this bulb or this bulb. And these 3 are all together, and they're a little division, so they should shoot out a little stem here as well. And I find when I do little divisions this way, the plants grow better, the divisions flower faster. It's not as traumatic to the plant, because normally if you're just breaking apart the pot and dividing this plant straight up, it's going to lose a lot of roots. You're going to rip out all the potting material, and it takes a long time for the plant to reestablish itself and, you know, get ready to grow a new growth, because it's all been really traumatized all at the same time. Whereas this way, it's still like all these divisions still have their roots intact. They're going to stay in the same environment. The only thing that's going to happen is it's going to scar over where I made these cuts, and then these plants will realize, well, hey, I'm on my own now. I'm going to shoot out a new growth. Once I see that new growth starting to grow and at a certain, you know, size, or little new roots are starting to grow, then what I'll do is I'll break apart this plant and get it ready, repot each division separately. I guess I'll do a little update once I see that happening. It could be a while, but I'll show you another one right now that I did a while back. So that last plant we just cut was a Laelia purpurata. I forget which variety it is, but I'll find the tag eventually. But this isn't one that I did a few months ago. This is a Cattleya Trianae var alba, and you can see here there's a little piece of plastic. That's where I cut, so this is its own little plant now, and this is its own little plant now. And you can see here's the plastic, and here is the new growth that has come from that back bulb. It's getting pretty tall now. I was going to separate the plant, but now I've decided, well, I'll probably just leave it in the same pot and let it have just 2 new leads. So that's only been a few months, it only took a few months for this to grow. See how the plastic is right there? That's where the division is. And this is a brand new growth here off the back bulbs that have lost their leaves, and they were looking pretty sad. But now it's rejuvenated that, and there's a new plant coming through. Okay, so the first part of this video was about March. We're about 3 months later now. You can still see my little tabs that I put in from when I snipped the rhizome here. And you can see that this one has a nice new growth coming out from where we chopped it here. And this one has a nice new growth here from where we chopped it here. So one thing I didn't expect to happen was, I guess, these growths here, these last 3, they must not have had a lot of good roots, because you can see the pseudo bulbs here are all shriveled, and I can't find a new growth here yet. There's our little tab that I inserted after I snipped it. So, you know, I've been waiting. Actually, the soil's, or the moss is kind of dry, so probably that has something to do with it, because these look a little shriveled too. I have to give them a little bit more water. But you can see now that from this one long rhizome that was one plant where we snipped it and divided it, now I have at least 2 and potentially a 3rd one. So that does happen sometimes when, you know, you have a back bulb division and it doesn't always sprout a new growth. One thing I could do is, now that I'm getting ready to repot this plant, is put this into like a sealed container where it's nice and moist and humid, and see, hopefully it'll help this plant push out a growth out of this back division. But anyway, I have at least these new 2 growths coming that are both, you can see they're both going to be nice and tall and big and healthy, and that's mostly to do because it's been separated before I, you know, if I repotted this, I would destroy all of these roots and the plant would be really, really stressed. And actually the best time to repot this now would be to wait, and once at the bottom of these growths I'll start to see new roots forming, that would be the absolutely ideal time for me to repot this, because I know that those new roots will grow into whatever new medium that I put this plant into. This is also a really great way if you have, you know, one plant that's in a pot that has a lot of room where you want more growth. So you just snip that rhizome and it'll send out multiple growths, and you'll have like a multi-lead plant, because some plants do like to just grow in one long line. Anyway, I hope you guys found this helpful. This is a little trick that I do very often to get more plants and successfully propagate them. And thanks for watching.